It's Wednesday, it's Wednesday night, it's AEW review. So, after a stacked week of AEW, and after last week, is rolling right on into our Pittsburgh return to the Event Center. And this Wednesday night, the AEW World Tag Team titles, the AEW Women's World title, the TNT title, and the All Rates World title will all defeating over the course of Dynamite replays and battles of the belts, but only the TNT title found a new home around a criminal waste. Sammy Guevara is after giving Gabriel Sky a little tasted of his own shot. Missing became the TNT champion for the third time, trying the record set by Cody Rhodes when he beat the Splash on Christmas last year. So, the actor saying that there is no question than the man of the year. Well, to be hot on Sammy Guevara heels going forward, but that's not all that went down last week. Riddle made a forced appearance against the Gun Club in his first allowing him a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. Thunder was the physical a slight of 9 rows to remain in the women's champion. Justin Rose decided CM Punk to a match, and Team Taz is the one out of over both Strickland and Keith Lee in Ricky Stark's hometown. And this Wednesday night is going to be wild based on the conference match along, but we also got CM Punk issuing that signing from the initial 2 of AEW is going head to head for the first time. Dr. Britt Baker is making her homecoming in a women's Owen Hart against qualifying match, and Kyle O'Reilly and Sugar Boy and finally to qualify on the men's side in the Wednesday in ring about for Hook. And Dynamite comes out. You are live on TBS at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, p.m. and also on AEW and Plus. What's that? They get pre-prep for a night. A bite, firstly, the Abaco AEW YouTube channel for highlights from last week. The other event has the newest episode of Dark Elevation. So, next we have Coffin Match to get Darby Allin take on Andrade Edgeo. It's calling for a Coffin Match against on July 14th of 2021, last year, at the HEB Center in Collin Park, Texas, Darby Allin brought the conference match to All Elite Wrestling for the very first time. That night, it marked his battles with Ian Page and Gabriel Sky that had been lingering on for the last several months, following Darby Allin defeating Gabriel Sky in their last year on 2021. And the TNT title match, it was a battle rivalry that saw Darby Allin musically toss down a flight of stairs, got him braced, and battled in a 2-on-1 handicap match, put him and Sting into the ring together against those men of the year. at Double or Nothing in 2021 last year and finally came to a head with a coffin outside the ring. It was also something Lasso then says the in separate ways at the same time says that AEW history between Ian Page and Darby Allin, their story, the hate had been on for the years. Even paid to AEW, and it finally was acquired when Darby Allin first closed the lead on the water box, and then a coffin dropped to the helpless or ego is trapped inside. So this Wednesday night, the conference match returns has Darby Allin has signed a deal to meet on this battleground inside the Pennsylvania Event Center, and this is the a month of in battles between the two men, or it would be more delicate to say Darby and Andrade, the parties in each. What started has Matt Hardy and Andrade trying to visit Darby into the Hardy office has, of course, the Port and Sting has Darby Allin. The student says, allowing to see Matt Hardy exit from the very organization. He finally brought Seth Hardy into the AEW. The vote to help his brother and part of the TNT title as well has Sammy Guevara, and now it looks to end in front of Spurgeon in Pittsburgh. The last time Darby and Andrade met in the singles competition to the match, it was in slight classic in the Orioles of Dynamite, but it was not a skillful interval for the witness one. A true there was no direct from Andrade. It's not for lack of trying from Soy's the assistant it was in, and so on Sting outside the ring, and that opened up an opportunity for Andrade. So Darby Allin requested for his friend to sit his elsewhere for just a moment, and that dive onto the bristle, the blade, and swords was all Andrade needed to recover his and pull out the victory. Of course, it wouldn't be in Andrade winning a match if it didn't end and out, all out, and so on his fate falls. Unlucky for Darby Allin, he had his own to offer when it was needed. But now, this Wednesday, under the of a conference match of that influence is a fair game. Anyone can throw Andrade in hand if he so chooses to deny the assistant, and the only way this battle ends is when the coffin lead his slam the set on earlier Darby or Andrade Angelo. The pistol may be elsewhere for the night, but that still leaves Soy's private party, the blade, and the bunny able to lead in hand. That also means Sting and the Hardys can play that game if need be out, but Darby is not the man to bank on that. He is the type to fight the Who a lot by himself if the stresses calls for it. The kind who will flame himself into the masses instead start spinning until he's audio the last one, stating how he's able to stand in a way and no one walks away from the fight, and that will be the case on Dynamite when the Coffins lead his ways in hungry amount obsessed, ready to be freed with the body of W. Allen or Andrade Idolo. Next match they have the Bristle in take on Wardlow. Last week we saw this story last Wednesday night. Has been missing about regarding the Bristle. He just found himself, quote, this Wednesday night has a monetary agreement between MCF, the AFO, and quote, frankly, anyone who will take his dirty dollar has a fans. Winners with Dan Lambert on at Dynamite and St. Patrick's Day Slam in 2022. Now, the Max will take up Freeman, and the money has now plus the service of the Bristle for this Wednesday night. And the AFO is playing a main squaddy at the War Dog. And he said, no, for the evil and good thing, the MCF doesn't need it. MCF sends AFO. So tune in now to MCF, second female, Maxwell. After having seen Wardlow cause Sean Spears a match with Sean Dean and having lost a second fight himself to the captain as a result of his former bodyguard, MCF has reached his limits. It has tapped one of the scariest men in the AEW locker room to do his dirty work. It should be no surprise. Those anyone except Max to fight in his own battles until he either has no choice or thinks he has a way to get one over on the competition. The person look ready for the fight in that mission into the field above from Rampage is particularly into the best in cases of his entire career. Wardlow has not too many forwards that can match him for power and size, but when he has witnessed according to his power bomb at the experience of two of AEW's biggest finals in Cecil Booney and Nick Quanto has against a Bristle tag team partner is back in February. Can Wardlow burst up like he did those, or will the AFO listen live up to the end of the deal with MCF, where Max stick his nose into this one Will the rest of the AFO? Question mark. We all know Wardrobe is lucky it stands alone after 2 years of being at Max is big and caught a few weeks of coming for MCF. 12. It doesn't things all the bad he did, but the Wardrobe knows that the stresses he creates for himself, it doesn't things. Wardrobe to fight against all odds in his to prove himself a better man than what AEW has if he truly wants to make this Wardrobe one to the fourth step was re-evolution in 2022. But the road continues with tonight in this fight with the Russell. Next match we have Owen Hart and Johnson Women's Tournament at quarterfinal. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, took on Daniel Cameron. See, Kate in the AEW after losing the AEW Women's World title, but Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, will be back. And California for the Owen Hart Women's Tournament at quarterfinal against this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. The body count comes to an end this Wednesday night when Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, returns home to Pittsburgh. See the former AEW Women's World Champion inside the wanted set of foot anywhere near AEW after losing inside set the case to Ronda Rousey and seeing her 290-day title reign. They come to an end, so the world has been on Dr. Britt Baker's lips for years now, spelling out anytime something in AEW doesn't go the way she thinks it should have, many not what she wants, and that was again the case when Ronda Rousey beat Little Horse to earn a rematch after Dr. Britt Baker exclusive at re-evolution in 2022, so the rematch took the place inside a steel case. And so the rematch went down in Ronda Rousey in the hometown of San Antonio. Now, Brett has added the necessity of qualifying for the Owen Hart and Johnson tournament to her list of AEW. So good Dr. feels that given her status as a former Women's World Champion and she is the pro-crime in face of AEW, she should not have to qualify for anything she probably even think she deserves a buy that says 8. But if one currently consistent with her track and record, clearly she should look to the women's she beat for the AEW Women's World title last year. For an example, according to Sly, is that the standard belt for a Women's World Champion in AEW, and she did not mind or complain about having a qualifying. She went out and won the match, and now looks ahead to a long insulin where the tournament begins. It has a for her opponent in this qualifying match. Daniel Cameo may be new to AEW, but she got 6 years of experience inside the squad circle after training under Casey, and she has been into the ring with Jay Carty, Emma Moon, and Selena Deeb, and Ruby Soho, and Deanna Parker, and Marina Safiro, to name a handful of opponents, and is currently prepared for the fight this Wednesday. The biggest difference between all cameo experiences heading into her Dynamite her debut, and this Wednesday night to Dr. Britt Baker hometown events when AEW came to Buzzsburg. It's the last time there was no one more beloved than Dr. Britt Baker that night, even with a fan favorite red format. So he has her own opponent on the very first Rampage. So that's a really hard about this really good match to see on AEW Dr. Britt Baker or stuff like that.